And now we're going to talk about how lawmakers are responding to the wildfires, especially when it comes to just how much emergency aid may be needed. This thing ain't over yet, folks. We're going to welcome in Republican Congressman from Utah, Burgess Owens. Congressman, you're a member of the House Education, Workforce, Transportation, and Infrastructure Committee, so we appreciate you taking the time and sharing your perspective today.
Well, thank you so much, Anna. I look forward to chatting with you, for sure.
All right. Well, Congressman, President-elect Trump has been accusing California Democrats of woke environmental policies, as he calls them, like prioritizing wildlife over water management, for hydrants losing water pressure, and some even coming up dry. Governor Newsom today, though, responding, accusing conservatives of spreading lies. Listen.
What the president-elect was saying about state water project and the Delta smelt somehow being culpable of, somehow leading to some of the challenges that we face down here it's words. It's a salad. It's the form and substance of fog. It's made up.
What have you noticed? Do you think both sides are spreading lies? And do you think Trump should be there? Governor Newsom has invited him to survey the damage.
Well, and I'll say this. The truth is going to come out. We've been dealing with this issue with California for years. We're upstream from California. We have to be very careful how we use our water because they are entitled to a certain amount. They take that water and they shoot it out into the ocean. We all know this, and this is a conversation we've been having. They do not manage the forest. They just cut their budget by $17 million when it comes down to fire. This is called incompetency. And I think what's going to come out of this, and it's a moment for Americans to begin to have some good, serious talks about how to be smart about managing our forests. Who should be over this? Could we allow more of the local, and in Utah, we want more local authority to be able to take a look at burns and make sure that these things are mitigated. So this is going to be a very good, serious conversation now that we see across the board how no one is safe. And so, things like this, things like open borders, things like defunded police, all those issues, all those topics that we've had over the last 4 years of wokeness is going to diminish because more people want common sense. They want to be safe, and they want to have a projection of seeing their dreams come alive and keeping them and not being destroyed. So it's going to be healthy in that regard. I feel so bad. And our prayers go out to California. Just like I do, my prayers go out to those in North Carolina who are still dealing with a lot of these issues. But we as a country are going to come together and figure out how to best help and mitigate these issues now as we move forward.
Yeah, when people have lost almost everything, they're really trying to find somebody to blame. And sometimes it causes us to do things that we shouldn't and say things we shouldn't. California Congresswoman Maxine Waters is on the ground in her home district. She's surveying the damage, and she spoke to NewsNation's Chris Cuomo about the dire situation for people in Los Angeles. She says we got to put politics aside. Let's listen.
You can do the politics later. You can come and talk about Gavin Newsom later. You can talk about the Democrats later. I don't care who you talk about, but don't use up this precious time to do petty politics. Use the time to educate and to share information and to let people know where they can get some food, where they can get a place to stay, where they can get some clothing.
Do you think politics are getting in the way of people trying to figure out where they're going to go, hearing the evacuation orders?
No, not at all. All those things you just mentioned is happening. We have a remarkable country that looks at how can we support each other when that time comes. But in the meantime, people are going to ask the question, why? As you're leaving their home, you're seeing it burn, you see television, why is this happening? And all of a sudden you start having conversations about the fact there's lack of water. There's no mitigation of the forest. Those things will be a natural, common conversation as people are dealing with all the other issues. So no, Maxine Waters happens to be at the very head of wokeness. So of course she doesn't want us to talk about why we got to where we are. But there's a reason that these folks are having the issues they're having. We're going to work through that. We're going to figure out how to support them the best we can. And at the end of the day, there'll be some accountability. I'm hoping that California will hold their leaders accountable who allowed this for happen for years to be in a position where they cannot protect themselves when it comes down to these kind of fires.
Well, look, the best way to do that is at the ballot box. Critics say Los Angeles misspent their budget allocating more to homelessness, which that issue actually got worse anyway, and made cuts to the fire budget, which even the LA fire chief says is hampering their efforts in fighting these fires. And it all comes as Congress is facing a fight over emergency relief spending. So how does this all play out, do you think, Congressman?
This is something we're talking about right now. Obviously, we're at $37 trillion in debt. These are the kind of things we have to deal with, we have to address because people's needs come first. But this is, again, the issues that we have to kind of figure out how to get ourselves on the other side of this. Remember what I just mentioned at the very beginning. We also have open borders. The same party is doing that. We also have, again, all the issues, defund the police. So all those things add up to costs. We have to figure out how to get out, first of all, cut down as we can, those areas that we can't cut down the costs and debt. Same time, get our country back where we're raising revenue to mitigate some of this. But we have a very, it's a hard road ahead of us. I'm thankful that we have a trifecta. We have a president ahead of us that understands business and an American first Congress and Senate. So we're going to figure this out. I'm thankful that we're in charge at this point, that we can get that done and bring the very best solutions we can to these folks that have the needs right now.
Yeah, and I can't help but think of folks in Western North Carolina, my home state, who are still picking up the pieces after Hurricane Helene. They're getting snow, and they've just been kicked out of FEMA hotel rooms, we're learning today. How can we make sure that they are not forgotten, that funding still gets to them, and we can make sure that we take care of this growing problem that we're watching unfold literally before our eyes right now in Los Angeles?
I want to say I congratulate the American people. We brought President Trump back. We need leadership. We need competency. We need to get back to common sense. And you're right, those in North Carolina right now, they got $750 for the mess they went through is egregious. So we have to figure out a way to make sure that all of our country, all of our Americans are taken care of when we have these kind of needs. And thankfully, we have a president in America First Congress and Senate that will address this in a way that's smart, common sense, and long term, so we can work through this process over the next few decades. So I'm excited about that, and thank Americans for allowing us to have this opportunity.
Well, and he's meeting right now, President-elect Trump is, with GOP members at Mar-a-Lago. He's pushing his ambitious agenda for tax reform and border security with this massive bill in the works and 100 executive orders coming, he says, on day one of his presidency. Is the plan too aggressive?
Of course not. It's very smart. It's America first, and it's things that are needed. We are in a mess right now. We've had 4 years in which our country has gone downhill in every facet possible. So the fact that we have a small majority, but we also have a very strong president, one who has high expectations, and one that has a mandate that the Senate and the Congress will have come together. We're going to see something that we have not seen in a long time, and because of the President Trump, a unity in our House and our Senate and executive branch. They're already doing it, by the way. They've been talking for the last few months about how to make sure we weave and navigate this very, very tough reconciliation process. So we're getting it done, and at the bottom line is that the president has a mandate, and the House and Senate will back him up. So we'll figure this out.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.